very special, a huge audience, Debra Giusti and amazing people. So welcome. We're going to have a wonderful, wonderful evening, and I'm glad you're all here tonight.
What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Muted me. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Awakening World. I'm Love Coach Scott Thomas, the regular host for Awakening World, and I'm back with the co-founder of the Global Peace Tribe, Debra Giusti. We have a very, very special show for you tonight. And welcome to all the wonderful new people that are joining us this evening. You're in for a treat, and I am going to turn it right over to wonderful Debra Giusti.
Thank you, Scott. And hello, everyone. It's so great to be with you. And yes, this is going to be an amazing show. I'm someone who likes to sit at the edge of the new paradigm and see what's coming to us in this awakening world that we're experiencing now and share it with you all. And that's what I'm doing tonight, because I took an amazing trip to Egypt. We had incredible experiences, and I'm going to bring on my top Ascend teachers that I have here. So I'm going to be sharing with you now. We are going to experience Egypt reactivated. It's time, and understand exactly what that means. So thank you for being here. I also want to welcome all the people that are joining us on Zoom and all the people that are with us on the broadcast panels. We actually have 1,500 people that have joined us at the Egypt Reactivated page, and 15 broadcast partners, including Unify. And so I want to thank you for being here watching us, and thank you if you're on the replay. It's really going to be an amazing show. And okay, 1 second here. I'm not. Sorry about that. I will get us back on track. Okay, this is Egypt Reactivated. And we are going to be experiencing the Stargate experience. They're some of my top Ascension teachers. They created the show and the tour, and we're going to learn all about them, including Vivian Chave is going to be presenting with us. I want to completely honor the 100 people that went with us. We took 100 people on this tour, and they were very significant in all that happened. And I am the producer and the host, so I welcome you. And I want to share with you that this show is going to be much more than just a show and a tour. It is going to be a consciousness raising experience. The whole show is going to be an activation, because that's what we really went to Egypt for. We are going to share the emerging awareness coming through right now with the planetary activation and the amazing stories of this experience. And what I'd love for you to do is to tune into your own knowing, your own inspiration, and maybe your own memories of Egypt in the past. So this journey started for me when I heard the Stargate, and the Stargate has been one of my top teachers for 15 years, and Vivian Chave, who is one of my current new top Ascension teachers, were leading a trip to Egypt with a portal to Ascension. And I thought, wow, that would be amazing. Now, I consider Egypt as one of my spiritual homelands. I had been there twice before. The last time was in 2015. And my mind thought, but I don't really need to go again. I don't really need to be spending all that money and energy and time now. Even though I thought it would be great, my mind said, nah, I don't need to go. But then the tour came up on my computer screen, on my email, and my finger just went up and went boing, register. It was just one of those things, and I'm sure you've experienced before, where spirit calls you so strongly that you're just supposed to do something. And I'm so happy that I did. So this was an international trip, so it was a big trip. And again, there was 100 of us going on this trip. Most were women, because a lot of these tours and retreats, the women are very tuned into, but there was also a few amazing men on the trip. And all of those people were really important to what happened on the trip. And when we got to Cairo, the first thing we did was we went into a Stargate meditation. And we'll explain to you what that was about. And what we heard was humanity's consciousness has risen enough now that the pyramids, the temples, the monoliths, and the sacred sites of Egypt are meant to come back to their original power that they were in ancient Egypt. And we're not talking about 5,000 years ago, which our current historians document as when this all started. We're talking about thousands of years ago. And we learned that in the past, Egypt's ancient temples and monoliths were designed as powerful energy conduits and channels of healing and inspiration. And we got that our mission was to facilitate the activation of the sacred sites, and that we did. So we embarked on a 10-day journey, experiencing at times and activating 2 or more sacred sites a day, and also going into deep Stargate meditations to tune into what we were doing and understand the full impact of it all. We started at the Giza Pyramid and the Sphinx, and then we flew down to Luxor, and we did many of the temples all around Luxor, including Karnak, Abydos, Osiris Temple, Dendara, Saqqara, and many more. And yes, we conducted activations. And so by activations, what my interpretation, and the spiritual guides will come on and explain much more deeply, what I experienced is we went to the strong energetic core of the sacred site. We all tuned together and got into deep coherence and deep in spirit, went into meditation and opened up sacred space. And we would allow for the support and guidance from the higher guides, such as Alcazar, who works through the Stargate, and the star families that Vivian works with. And we allowed for deep transmission. We will explain this in detail during the show. And we're even going to show you a video of the activation that happened at the Sphinx. So for me, this was just amazing. And we also got a lot of spiritual confirmations, which I will share with you. So this was a very unique trip, but I want to share also that it's not totally unique, because what I'm experiencing is that many spiritual teachers have been going to sacred sites for a while now to help heal the planet, to help activate it and clear it. And more than ever, spiritual teachers are going to sacred sites all over the world. So this happened and we did this, but it's also happening all over the world. So I invite us now to tune in together and open up sacred space together, in grounding our energy and opening up our energy field, and especially opening up our hearts to receive this powerful transmission. So in this show tonight, not only is there going to be evolutionary teachers from Stargate and Alcazar and Vivian Chave and her family and her guides, but I invite you to open up to your inner knowing, because the information is coming through us now, all of us individually, all together. And we are going to be bringing through an activation at the end of this that we'll all experience. But also please realize that this whole show is going to be an activation. So really get into the space of receiving so clearly the energies, the insight, and the knowing that will come through. And if you're watching the replay, from what I understand, we are transmitting in the quantum field, so you will receive all the activations on the replay. So I'm so glad you're here. And now I'd like to introduce these special spiritual teachers that were on the journey and that are going to be with us tonight. So I'd like to introduce the Stargate. Now, these are 3 spiritual teachers who I've been connected with for over 15 years, and I've been following them ever since. And for me, they share some of the most cutting edge information addressing the current spiritual evolution on the planet, humanity's evolution, and especially your personal ascension. And I'm referring to Prageet Harris, who originated the Stargate, Julianne Conrad, and through them comes through the multidimensional spiritual source of Alcazar. So I welcome you now. So happy for you to be here. And I'd love for you to share a bit about people who have never experienced the Stargate, what that's about and what you share.
Thank you so much, Debra. It's such a joy to be here with you.
Okay, we're not hearing you.
Oh. Okay, can you hear us now? That's strange.
You're fine. We can hear you.
Yeah,
Great.
okay. Okay, great. So Debra, other people can hear us. I don't know if you can. Okay,
So we'll carry on.
go ahead.
It's really great to be here with you all. And as Debra said, this is not just a presentation, it's an experience. And we really would like to invite you to give yourself the time and the space to really allow yourself not just to listen to the words, but to be open to receive the energies that happen behind the words. So Debra asked us to talk about the Stargate. You can see one of the Stargate structures behind us right now. And this was given to me way back in 1989. In 88, I was having a massage and channeling just started to happen while I was deep in the massage experience. And it blew me away. And I'm in my skeptical self back then, I didn't believe any of it. And if it wasn't for my friends keeping again and again asking me, go on, channel again, channel again. And every time they asked, it happened. And I was in my room by myself and I said, if this is real, who are you? And I heard loud and clear, Alcazar. And that's such a weird name that I didn't think would be the kind of thing that my mind would make up. So anyway, for a whole year, I allowed Alcazar, and I got demonstrations from him, very practical demonstrations about the reality of this channeling experience. And after a year, he said, we want you to build a structure for us. It's called a Stargate, and it will be an interdimensional doorway. And what you see behind us is a product of that. It's not the first one. And in fact, this is much smaller than the 10.5-foot one that we usually work with. And it is an anchor for a higher dimensional consciousness. And if you're new in this area, that might sound really weird. That's how it sounded like that for me when Alcazar told me. And he said, well, it's very similar to your physical bodies. Your bodies are a structure which enables a higher dimensional consciousness to be here on the planet. So that helped. And as we work with this, we activate it. And with the activation, it creates an incredible energetic field. And Jules joined me, how many years
in
ago?
2012. So
Back in, yeah.
over 10 years ago now. And for me, the power of this Stargate is that it enables people to have their own direct spiritual experiences. And so the sacred geometry is an anchor for this high vibrational energy field. And as you simply relax into it, your own awareness expands and you're able to actually feel subtle energy, even if you don't normally feel subtle energy.
One of the beautiful things about the Stargate work, Alcazar says again and again, there's nothing to do. It's about relaxing and just being bathed by these higher dimensional energies from many of the enlightened beings that are available to support humanity, whether it's the Ascended Masters or the many, many star families and other beings from other realms and dimensions. We are part of such a large, complex creation that we've only experienced a really small part of in this third dimension. And the Stargate is about helping us reconnect to the vastness of all there is.
And the reason the Stargate is known as an interdimensional doorway is because that high vibrational energy field it's anchoring and broadcasting are actually like the frequency ranges of our multidimensional universe. So when we were invited to go to Egypt by Portal to Ascension and New Realities crew, we got a big yes, which was a surprise.
Yeah, I've been asked to go to Egypt. Well, ever since I've had the Stargate, and each time Alcazar said, no, not yet, not time, don't do it. And even though I've wanted to go for my own personal self and also to share it with others, it was always a no. But then when we got asked, it was instant yes. Such a strong energy. Didn't know why at the time, but it became very, very obvious when we connected with our dear friend Viviane and her insight from the galactic and the universal point of view. And then it was like, hey, it's time. It's time to start the process of reactivating these incredible structures and the multidimensional nature of those structures as well. So it's been amazing, and we really want to invite you to really tune in and experience this journey with us as you get a taste, as Debra guides us through the different places that we went to. Over to you, Debra.
Thank you so much. Amazing, incredible explanation of what you do. And it's so much more. So looking forward to it. So now I want to bring in Viviane Chauvet, and she's another one of my top new Ascension teachers. I've been connecting with her for the last 4 years, and I found her information very high level and specifically addressing the Ascension taking place now. And she is a very unique being because she is what's called an Arcturian hybrid. So what that means is she was conceived in the ships by an Arcturian father and a human mother, and planned for what I understand thousands of years to come at this specific time and be with us, an Arcturian soul in a human body. So quite a journey. And I've watched her grow and flourish, and her activations is amazing because she has direct access to her star family when she does this. So Viviane, can you share with us who you are and what that really means?
Thank you so much, Debra. What a lovely introduction, and especially coming from a distinguished spiritual teacher like yourself. It's absolutely amazing. As you mentioned, my name is Viviane Chauvet. I am known as an Arcturian hybrid, but the hybrid part of myself is my body. So as a soul level, I am an Arcturian being. I'm a soul aspect of my Arcturian avatar. I have chosen to be specifically physically on the planet at this time of the reascension process of an entire planet. So I have very clear memories as an original Arcturian being when we first consulted with our elders and our group of elders. I told the council, I said, we have been monitoring the probability of the timelines of a planet called the Earth in the Villa Tropa sector, which is your solar system. And I said the probability of coming into alignment, I feel that it is important to send me back to the planet, but in a physical vessel that will allow me to be on the planet as opposed to remain in my original form and communicate with channels or teachers on the planet. So this is why I chose to return in this physical form. So I always says the hybrid part of myself is my body. Who you're communicating with is the Arcturian being that I am. This is why I speak differently, I think differently, and I will perceive reality on a whole different level. The joy of joining this very unique Egyptian expedition at this time was absolutely phenomenal and also very crucial, especially of where we were and we still are on the planet. And for years on, I would tell my delegation, I am ready to travel, not to Egypt. I have no intention to go there. I told my group, I said, Father, it will take extraordinary measures and people to take me there. Of course, it took Prageet and Jewel from the Stargate. And once they approached me to says, we are going to go to Egypt, and that's been 30 years in the making. My group too came forward, and my Arcturian father said, it is time for you now to return to the ancient land and bring physically the next encoding of frequencies that you will be transmitting. And when they speak this way, we know that it is of the utmost importance. So what happened prior to the trip is for 3 consecutive months, I was receiving the same transmission over and over. And the transmission was, you need to step inside of the paws of the Sphinx, stand on the left hand side. There, you're going to connect with the guardian. And this is where the transmission will begin. And it's beyond a transmission. What we have done is shift completely the grid system of the planet to where we are now moving into 2024 and even 2025. So everything that our group, including through my Arcturian delegation and a multitude of other interstellar group consciousness have accomplished together, it's beyond just going to sacred site and going activation and opening portals. We have literally pushing, so to speak, the next level of planetary evolution that has been in the making for thousands of years. And in addition to that, there was also a lot of preparation through the Atlantean grid system, because something else happened beyond Egypt. There was another oceanic grid activation, and the restoration of the Atlantean timeline took place just about a week after we left Egypt. So there's definitely layered of implication of our presence there. And of course, we always honor the pioneers or the spiritual people who've gone before us and those who will be going after us. But just understand that what we've accomplished is huge. It's pivotal of what the planet's been waiting for. So as an Arcturian being in this hybrid form, I am genetically built and encoded in a very specific way. And as you will feel an aspect of it throughout the entire event, especially with the activation of the Sphinx, we deeply invite everyone to really connect at a soul level, open the sacred gateway through your nervous system, open the channel to your soul star chakra, and allowing the experience to flow that way, because this is well beyond spiritual activation and mental concept. We went above and beyond, and the ripple effect of our work in Egypt, it's continuing to echo deep, and we see that when we work with other interplanetary councils. So of course, I speak with you as a galactic being. with the capacity of feel on the human level, so have great love and compassion for everyone. It is a joy to be in your presence. And Debra, thank you again for pulling this together. Phenomenal.
Yes. So everyone, didn't I say this was going to be an amazing show? We're just beginning. So thank you, Viviane. So I would like to begin now. And the journey begins. So here we are, traveling to the Giza Pyramid. Right at the airport, Isis greets us. And that was a big yes for me, because she is one of my higher deities girls. I'm a priestess of Isis. So that's right at the airport as you come out. So that was wonderful to see. And we all went to the Mena House in Cairo, Egypt. This is a really spectacular place to stay. As you can see, it's right next to the pyramids. I've been there 3 times now. Incredible place. And you just go around the corner and you're right at the Giza Pyramids and the Sphinx. So this is where we all stayed. So again, here we are going to the paws of the Sphinx on our very first day. We had special access to go in between the paws of the Sphinx. So that's really special when you're on a tour to get special access to do something, especially if you're doing prayer, ceremony, and activations. You want to have a unique time to go where you can fully take over the space. And here is our tour guide, Mohammed and Prageet, going to explore the situation to get our special access. And here we are now starting to go into the paws of the Sphinx. You'll see Julianne, Prageet, and Viviane going to establish what's going to be happening there. Looking at the situation, that's right at the paws. There was writings on that slab there, and that's where we ended up. And of course, the Sphinx was welcoming us. So here's the group entering between the paws of the Sphinx. We had a group of 100 people, so we did 2 activations. So 50 people started. I was part of the first activation. So this is 50 of us going to go all the way down to the edge of his breast where we did the activation. This is our group as we started to go into deep meditation, tuning into the vibration. And this is Julianne and Prageet and Viviane as they started to tune in. Viviane and Prageet brought through Alcazar. Viviane brought through the star family, and it was amazing. Here's Viviane as she was deep in her activation. And when the activation was over, it was extremely emotional because it was so profound. And I captured this moment of deep gratitude that Viviane went into after this activation. And here we leave the Sphinx in complete reverence. This is Mohammed sharing with us the watermarks on the Sphinx, which was so interesting because what we heard Spirit tell us, Mohammed would confirm, because he is a tour guide that sees beyond normal Egyptology, but he sees much more into it. And you've probably heard this through Graham Hancock and the show that he does on Netflix, but it's documented through the watermarks that the Sphinx is actually more like 12,000 years old, because you could see watermarks there, and it had to be during a time when it was green and there was water there and there was rain. So during another ancient time of Egypt when the Sphinx was there, we got so much other information about the Sphinx as well. And so after the activation, it was amazing. We accomplished our first activation. And here we are leaving. And one thing I want to share with you is that not only did we do these activations, but there was lots of spiritual confirmations. So what I mean by that is a lot of times you'll have amazing spiritual experiences in your meditations or something that happens. And the next day you wake up and you go, did that really happen? Was I just making that up or what? But for me, on my Facebook page, the first thing I saw was this photo. Now here's the Sphinx. It was an art piece with exactly where we activated the Sphinx open up and light and energy coming out there, as well as it being a green and tropical setting. So to me, that was an amazing confirmation. This is Gilbert Williams, who's a prominent visionary artist. I knew him in the 80s. I hadn't heard from him since the 80s. But for some reason, this ended up on my Facebook page with a caption that said, "A current inspiration." So that was amazing. So I want to bring back Vivian and Stargate now. No, actually, what we're going to do is we have something very special for you. We actually have a video of this activation. I want to thank Alan Steinfeld, because he created the video and he edited it. And so we're going to actually be able to see what happened during the activation at the Sphinx. And so here it is now.
For as you walk these lands, you walk these lands as an ancient being, here incarnated with a forgotten past. You walk these lands as a being who has become enlightened so many times on so many planetary systems. You are living in a fractal, holographic universe. For as you walk these sacred sites, they have been the focal points where so many civilizations, enlightened beings from your stars, have implanted templates of higher knowing, have initiated human beings in your past. These are sites rich with information fields that connect far beyond your earth to the stars.
Beloved ones, you can hear those sounds around you. They are, in their own way, wishing to connect with Source. So do not allow those sounds to disturb you. Just be with an understanding that their intention is not so dissimilar from your own. Here, now, in this moment, you are embraced by this energetic. If you can totally relax, we suggest if you close your eyes, you can be more sensitive to the vibration. We have talked for many, many years about the ancient wisdom that is held below this structure. It is often called the library. It is one of many. It has been protected here. We have also had for more than 30 of your years an etheric Stargate right here. So let us all first invite the activation of this etheric Stargate that has been placed here.
So asking with feeling, we call for the activation of the etheric Stargate between the pores of this great Sphinx. And beloved ones, the hieroglyphs above these three show that there is a second, or was a second Sphinx here on this your Giza plateau. And so we invite you energetically to connect with the holographic imprint of the double of this Sphinx. So just imaging, connecting to the holographic twin.
There are many stories, many arguments, discussions about this structure. We invite you, rather than being in your mind, relax into its energetic. And we will ask when she is ready and available, our honored guest, Viviane, to share a greater perspective on this experience.
It has been granted by the Great Council of Time and the guardians of Lyra for the original libraries of the first original DNA template, the sample of genetics in the form of a double helix that was returned to the earth eons ago. The guardians know of our return, and we have been transmitting codes to the genetics material of this hybrid directly from Arcturus. We have been preparing for this momentum in history with the Arcturian High Council. The necessary codes, the keys, have not been allowed to be returned to the earth and to the sacred archive that this guardian of time has volunteered a long time ago to come and keep the ancient archives. And the reason why the codes are being transmitted right now is because of all of your work. It's because of the great awakening of the light workers on the planet, the light workers who've come from every corner of the multiverse. Right now, the sacred codes, the keys, are being returned into the original library. At the same time, the transmission has been returned back to also in Uluru with the Pleiadians, who are also receiving the second set of codes. They're twins codes. It is those of Lyra who had agreed in the time after Atlantis to bring in the encoding of secret genetic codes, what you call archives. In terms, these codes will be reflected into your own genetic material as markers, interstellar markers, that each and every one of you are keeping right now. And as you're allowing your consciousness to evolve, those markers will become active. What we are seeing right now has been foretold and foreseen for a very long time. The potential of the timelines has coming into fruition. Again, it is because of your collective work. We now invite you to the Arcturian to hold a space with all of us and to feel within your own DNA strand the release of certain light codes within your codons. It is together now going to bring the keys into full manifestation. In the eye of the guardians and those of Lyra, they will bring in the archives. The archives is also designed for the future timeline. And those are the future generations are coming back here with light frequencies who understand exactly what these libraries represent for humanity and the future aspect of human beings. We also have invited in our space a group of humans that are 400 years in your timeline future. They are here right now. They're aspects of you, just 400 years in your future perspective. We're going to use the etheric Stargate to amplify the activations. We invite you to hold a space with all of us. Many groups have come for this historical moment. We are honored that our emissary is being used as a vehicle, and all of you are also transmitters. We sit down with love and respect. Let's hold a space together and feel through your spinal column and your entire nervous system the transmission of light into the archives. Let's take a deep breath in and release. The first level of encoding has been successfully implemented. You will now release the emissary and return her consciousness back to you.
In gratitude, we thank you. We are honored to be here with you at this time, with all of you.
You're welcome. Oh, this is so beautiful. I'm back. Thank you. Thank you.
In times to come, beloved ones, you will begin to understand, as you are beginning right now, you will begin to understand the depths of gratitude to being part of this grand revealing, this grand opening, this grand realignment. As you have these experiences, and as you begin to realize you have been called here to participate in these experiences, can you begin to bring a much deeper level of love and compassion towards yourself? You do not know yourself. You still believe the illusion that you have been told about who you are. We invite you to be open now as we move through these experiences these days, to begin to allow yourself rediscovery.
Yes. I'm so happy to be able to share that with you. And again, acknowledging Alan Steinfeld of New Realities, who captured that and edited that, because it was such a magical moment. And I want to bring back the Stargate and Viviane to share even more in depth, and hopefully Alcazar to share more in depth of what went on during that first activation?
Well, as you could see, the energy that Vivian allowed to come through her physical body was absolutely amazing. And the words that were brought through her about bringing in these new codes and implanting them in the library, and also the connection with Uluru as they came in together. And in fact, we're going to be traveling to Uluru with Viviane, although we haven't announced it yet. I guess I've just let the cat out of the bag. But perhaps, Viviane, would you like to start to say how it was for you? Because it was so obvious that it was even a challenge for the physical body, because so much was coming through in those minutes there.
Deep breath. Yes, thank you, Prageet. And it's the first time I watched the replay ever since we came back. And the fact that you were sitting next to me and helping me to bring myself back in my physical form really meant a lot. And of course, Jules, I can feel you were holding such a level of sacred space. That was a really fascinating transmission. And you can see my husband, Peter, was also next to me. What happened is that immediately as we sat down between the pause and we were getting ready, and of course, Alcazar came and then opening the space, my body went into an immediate high frequency transmission. And you can see in the video that my body is oscillating back and forth. It's mild on the video compared to what it was. And even Peter, my husband, he said, at some point I couldn't touch you. He said, I have to release my hand off of my arm because he was unable to sustain the frequencies. So what happened that day is that 4 distinct group consciousness came through me one after another. And as you mentioned many times before, Prageet, is I have no need to channel. I'm simply becoming a conduit, a direct conduit for those group consciousness because of who I am and the way my physical vessel is built. But the level, the transcendence and the level of the purity of the frequencies was so beyond that my vessel wanted to break in tears, and it was the only emotional and response that the body could find. It was to the release of water element. And you saw me sobbing at the end because I understood, I saw the grand design that this activation or the release of a new series of codes like never before finally were able to be returned to the earth without harming anyone, without causing a polarized counter response. This is something we've been waiting for thousands of years. And the set of twin codes that was being transmitted at the same time through Uluru with the Pleiadians, the High Council of the Pleiadians, and many Aboriginal elders in the etheric form was there. And an old friend of mine was there too in Uluru. He passed on into the light, but he's well known. Cliff Mahody. I saw Cliff Mahody telling me, I'm already in Uluru working. So those twin light codes coming back to the planet at the same time, what we were looking at is the binary aspect of the 2 timelines of 2023 and 2024. So the work we have done in 2023, we're going to continue next level in 2024. And that's why we call them 2 binary timelines. They're like binary star systems. So what took place just at the Sphinx alone was just above and beyond. And so it's going to pave the way for the groups going to come after us and next year and so forth. And the archives is the reflection of the archives that we finally carry in us. It's finally being revealed to us the true aspect of the universal time matrix original template or the celestial human template, if you want. And finally, we're reaching that point. It is extremely emotional because I understood the implication of our journey and what we were doing there. And the fact that 4 group consciousness came one after another, the level of frequency could be enough to, we could feed the entire city just by energy. It was so potent. And we were very well supported by the energy of the group, with everyone who were there, like yourself, Debra, like Neil, Emil, and other people there who were absolutely holding space. And of course, we knew that we were able to go at the depth of when we went, because I knew also I was safe. That's because I was within a Stargate structure, etherically and with the group. And the fact that my group said, yes, you will be going to Egypt physically, in spite of what it could represent for us, that's because of you, Prageet and Jules. It's because of the group that you brought, the structure behind it. That was the only way for us to go. Otherwise, I would have done the work in a different way. So the Sphinx activation is very extremely historical and essential, pivotal, I would say, for what is finally coming and what will be possible, the potential on the planet now, through many light workers, many people working, that we reaching that point finally. And I can tell you, we've been monitoring this ever since the last ascension of Ascension. We knew by the time before Ascension, before Atlantis ended in their golden age, we already saw the potential and the future timeline, and we're finally here. But when you talk to intergalactic beings who are millions of years old, for us, a few thousands of years has not the same connotation as in your lifetime. It's like it's a long time, but we knew that the archives will be holographically resurfacing and starting to integrate themselves by sequential layers as we're shifting now more and more in the organic timeline. In a nutshell.
Beautiful one. We are always honored to be with you through this one Prageet in this physical reality. Our communication and our connection on the other levels is not known to this one Prageet, although he has a vague sense of it. What you allowed through your process in the Sphinx was the trigger, in a sense, which allowed the subsequent activations at many of the other sacred sites. As you have said, it was the whole group that created a safe environment. There were so many more who wanted to be part of that gathering. And perhaps they will benefit in future trips. They will benefit from what has been activated and opened through the work that was done with this group. And this is why we feel such gratitude, not just to yourself and those that were there, but to this one Debra, who is allowing a much larger audience to understand that change has already been started, and that the energies of this ancient land are being recalled, rebuilt, reaccessed to fit into this timeline of humanity right now. We thank you.
Thank you so much, Alcazar. and Prageet and Julianne. Amazing. So I think we'll go on to the next activation now. And what we did that night, we did 2 activations that day. We went to the Giza Pyramid at night. We had special access in the evening just for our group to go into the King's Chamber and do the activation. So this is especially handled, and I will share with you now. So the second activation took place at night at the Giza Pyramid. And the pyramid at night was amazing. It was beautiful. We went up to the door of the Giza Pyramid. And when we got there, unfortunately, they took our phones, so we were not able to show pictures in the Giza Pyramid.
Debra, can you share your slides with us so we can see them?
Okay, I thought I had shared.
There we go. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, let me go back. Sorry about that.
Perfect. We can see them now.
Okay, I'm going to go back. All right, here we are. This is what the pyramid looks like at night. And it is beautiful as it's lit up. This is the door of the Giza Pyramid. And this is where you go in to make your way into the King's Chamber. But when we got there, as I said, they confiscate all our phones. So we don't have access to take pictures. But this is what the Giza Pyramid looks like. So you'll see the King's Chamber. You'll see the Grand Gallery, which is where you go up to the King's Chamber, and the Queen's Chamber. And so we did go in the King's Chamber, and this is what it looks like to do the activation. So 50 people went in at a time to do the activation. And Vivian did not go in. She was going to be going in, and her star family said, no, your body is too delicate to make the trip where you have to stoop down really low and go through the tunnels to get in, and it's very long climb. So she stayed on the outside, but she handled the activation from the outside. And this is the Queen's Chamber, which we always also went to, and there was ISIS came through, one of our attendees, Michelle Castro, and we'll probably do that in another show where ISIS came through and that. And when I got back and I talked to Viviane, I asked her, what did you experience when we did the activation and you were holding space? And she told me, I definitely saw the Giza Pyramid light up. I saw light coming out the capstone. I saw light emanating from it. And me and my family were holding space. And so I want to share another spiritual confirmation that I got. And this is another photo that was on my Facebook the next day when I'm questioning, did this really happen? So this is what I saw on my Facebook. Now, this is a photo from Jason Shirka, who is doing a pyramid code program, but it just happened to be on my Facebook at the same time. But this is what we're talking about. So I'd like to bring Prageet and Julianne and Viviane back on and share a bit about this second activation that we did the next day.
Yeah, that later that night, that was a power-packed day. We went to the Sphinx, and then we were in the King's Chamber for 4 hours that night.
Well, it was actually perfect. I think it was actually designed that Viviane could be at the base. I think that we were not really understanding that initially, that was the way that it was really meant to happen. But Viviane was at the base, and we were in the King's Chamber, and Alcazar came through. And at a certain point, he said there are many of the different delegations, And he said, we are being invited to start the process of reactivating the pyramid. I think it's a multi-step process from what I understand. Is that how you see it, Viviane?
Indeed, Prageet, that's a good observation. And thank you for mentioning that it was always designed to be this way. So the first time I made it up to the entrance that Debra showed us. I went inside, I walked, and as I made it through the main plateau. So I walked through the tunnel of the main chamber. And once we reach, when we reach the midpoint of the pyramid, my team says, "What do you think you're doing? Get out now." Because structurally, I know I look a lot human and I smile and I drink and you see me, embodying some of the human characteristic. My physical body under the hood is a bit quite different than yours. So I had no capacity to be in a such confined, humid, narrow space with a lack of oxygen. My lungs would have collapsed. So one of the guide was an angel, took my hand and brought me back to the tunnel. We were halfway crouched down and my team is walking with me etherically and they tell me, "No longer will you put yourself in that situation." I said, "No, I know, I get it." The beauty of this is when I went back, I didn't go down all the way down to the ground. I stay at the entrance. And this is where, as you mentioning, Prageet, when you, Jules, and the group are inside of the chambers, this is where our part took place. And what I saw is holographically, I start to see the Giza Pyramid be returned into its original form as an oscillator of pure energy. So we were at the base, so to speak, at the entrance door, working on the structural aspect of the pyramid, as you were doing with Alcazar, the activation from inside of the pyramid. And all along, it was always meant to be this way. And it's really phenomenal what we managed to do. Plus, I got permission to grab my camera with permission. And I went back inside to up to a certain point. So you go inside, it looks like a cavern. And you upward and you can breathe and you walk. So I thought it would be easy to do that. And there's a door, you go through the door, and then you start walking to the stairs. So we were allowed, Peter and I, to sit on a chair right at the early stage inside the pyramid and took a picture of ourselves. So I do have a permission, a picture, from the inside of the pyramid with permission. So through the Mohammed's group, and then it's Peter and I sitting, and I'll show that picture eventually. But it was really amazing because I knew I could feel the transmission from inside the core of the pyramid and from the structural aspect. This is where we were combining together. So when the group was done and you all exited, then I returned on the ground and we went back to the bus. But that was actually a perfect combination for the activation of returning the Pyramid of Giza for what it's meant to be. It is truly a pure oscillator of frequencies. And they have so many intergalactic groups working with us. Our delegation, as we were working from the inside, was such a beautiful collaboration. I'll always remember that.
Yeah, I remember for us when we first got to Cairo, we stayed in this Airbnb really near the Gaza plateau. And it felt like the pyramids were like a Stargate that was always plugged in. And like with the Stargate work, it's really when we guide meditations that the energy gets palpable and powerful. And so it was the first time I went to a place on Earth where it felt like there was this interdimensional energy that was always turned on. And then Viviane, you started talking about like the pyramids actually originally were far more pristine and far more powerful. And there are these like layers of historical restriction. How do you see that?
Thank you for mentioning that, Jules, because you're making a really good point. So we saw a retracted form of the vestige of the pyramid as you see it today. So I remember that we were staying in the Mina house, as Debra showed us earlier, and Dr. Desiree Ertak was still on the ground, and Desiree, Alan Steinfeld, Peter, and I went a day ahead just to walk on the plateau. And what struck me the most is to see how dormant the site felt to me, to your point, Jules. So it was, what we're looking at is, yes, it's majestic. Yes, it's the construction and the site in front of you. It's just amazing compared to looking at pictures. And yet all we're looking at was a shadow aspect of what it was really meant to be. So when our tour began right with the Giza plateau, with the pyramid and then the Sphinx, I knew that we were there to reset the timelines, release the distortion, what we call, like you mentioned, Jewel, historical overlay of distorted energies, which we retracted in the shadow aspect, cast the pyramid in a lower form. We were there to release that cast, so to speak.
Yeah, and we actually got our own like amazing confirmation through one of the participants, Ezra Bengolu, who's from Turkey.
Yeah, she told us the next day that a friend of hers, who she hadn't been in contact with for many, many years,
who's not really into spiritual stuff.
yes, who didn't know that Ezra was part of our group
in
Egypt, sent her a message saying that a channel had said that night that right now in Egypt, the pyramid and the Sphinx are being reactivated. As I talk, he said, as I talk, it's happening now.
And I believe that channel's name is Stuart Pierce, and he was channeling the angels of Atlantis. And so Ezra's friend just happened to be tuning into this guy's meditation. She doesn't usually do this type of spiritual work, but she called Ezra because she actually was dreaming about Ezra that night. And so she calls Ezra up and she's like, you were in my dreams last night. You were in some kind of temple in Egypt and you were like turning all these lights on. And to us, it's like, whoa, that's a double amazing confirmation.
Yeah, incredible.
And just to show you, it works. When you really start to believing in the power that you truly have, the power that you carry within you, just the synergy of your being, and you put it to good use, that like we've been doing, it really makes a big difference. So to get that kind of really palpable validation by someone who won't necessarily classify themselves as spiritual, it makes it even more foundational. It makes it even more, validating. So thank you for reminding us of that, because I remember you mentioned that.
Yes, amazing. So I think we're going to go on to the next journey. What we actually did is the next morning, we left on a flight to Luxor. So this was like a huge trip and a lot to ask of us to get on a flight right away. But all 100 people were definitely interested and into it. So I'm going to share one of the next places we went to. And that is the Karnak Temple in Luxor. As many of you know, that this is one of the largest temple complexes that happened in ancient Egypt that was around for a long time. Amazing, huge reality there. There was statues of lions or lambs that went from Luxor Temple all the way to Karnak. So people would travel between temples. And it was huge. It was amazing. Our guide, Mohammed, would talk about that how could they have, a lot of what they used was granite that was 200 miles away. And how did they get that granite to Luxor? And of course, our traditional Egyptologists talk about, rolling on logs or something like that. But it was wonderful that our guide Muhammad would look at the hieroglyphics and show that there was advanced technology that they were communicating in the hieroglyphics to create what they did. So he would show us in the hieroglyphics there was actually some hieroglyphics of UFOs and hieroglyphics of energy machines and things like that. So he could interpret another level of technology and understanding and spirituality in what was shown there. He told us that originally there was something like 24 obelisks. And again, made out of granite, this rose granite, because this is what would hold the energy. And the rose granite quarry was 200 miles away. So how did they get it there and how did they carve it? Humanity in recent times has tried to move these obelisks, and they've moved a bunch of them, and along the way they've just crumbled. They haven't been able to manage them. Yet in very ancient Egypt, they were able to create them, 24 of them all around Karnak. Muhammad showed us this, which signified 7 rooms, signifying 7 states of consciousness that one goes into. So this was a mystery school spiritual practice where you'd go into one room and elevate your consciousness to the next level, and you were not allowed to go to the next room until you were ready to go to that next level of consciousness. So there was symbolism everywhere about spirituality. And here are 7 ankhs that represented the 7 rooms and the 7 stages of consciousness that the Egyptians were attaining. And then we were led to a very special place, which was the Temple of Sekhmet. Sekhmet is one of the lion goddess deities who appeared. This is a special place that you have to be special request to go to. So our group went to that. Here we are as you go into the Temple of Sekhmet. It's a small temple and there's a statue of her that you go in and you pay homage. And we went in as a group. And this is what the statue looks like. Muhammad requested that we not take pictures. So this is not the picture of the actual Sekhmet there. So we did not take pictures. But when I was there previously in 2015, I went with 5 women. And so no one had gone at that time because people thought there was political unrest. So we had the temples to ourselves. And I went in there by myself and stood before the Sekhmet statue. And I felt this huge energy coming from her, the statue, into me that almost bowled me over. And I had to ground my energy and just ground myself in there. And I felt it was a transmission from Sekhmet, who I feel very connected with as one of my primary guides and deities. And when I took a photo, this red image showed up, which was highly unusual because there was nothing red there. But to me, it signified the energy that was there in the room. So I'd love to bring back Prageet and Julianne and Viviane, and any commentary you want to share about our experience at Karnak.
Yeah. Likewise with the Sekhmet statue, there are these statues in Egypt where you go there and there's a living presence. It's unlike anything I've ever experienced before. And Viviane, I know you have your own take on that Sekhmet representation, that lion-like goddess.
Absolutely. And one of the highlights, as we were inside the sanctuary looking at the original Sekhmet statue, I was standing next to you, Jules, and then we're starting to do with the small group, because we have to go by small groups to do an activation, meditation. And right away, what I did is connecting with the third eye of the statue. And what I literally saw with my eyes open, so I was using my third eye and my physical eye completely in conjunction. I literally saw the face of the statue morphing into a living cosmic being. And it was a female being, and she introduced herself as a Lyran being. And what they told me, and this is in many places, in many temples, I got very similar message. They always says, you're looking at an energetic pattern representation of something that's been depicted throughout history. So Sekhmet in reality represent the Lyran group to Lyra constellation. But what was really poignant about that moment is that the face of this female Lyran showed sadness, and I saw a heavy shadow coming through the forehead. And so right away I saw a royal blue portal opening, and my Arcturian group came through next to the statue, and I was communicating with the Lyran consciousness. And what she was showing me is that the Lyran still carry to this day a shadow energy through the great war and conflict with the Draconians, which is also very depicted throughout Egypt. And so we were helping the Lyrans as a civilization, as masters that they are, to clear themselves from that part of their own intergalactic history. And immediately, and I had my eyes open the entire time, I watched the face of the statue shifting, or allow me to rephrase that. I saw the face of the Lyran being shifting into joy, and that very heavy shadow that she was carrying around her forehead was released, removed like a veil. And that is also greatly symbology of the removal of the heavy veil on this third dimensional matrix reality for humanity. So we helped to heal a huge stigma for the Lyrans that they were the Arcturians. And once it was done, then I saw this cosmic being retracting her consciousness of the statue, and the statue returned into this inorganic movement and just stood there. And one of the group members, and forgive me, I forgot the name of that beautiful person, came to me and said, Vivian, I speak with the Lyrans. They thank you and your Arcturians for what you just did. That's the direct validation that I received. And of course, we're honored to assist. This is what we were there for. But I was very unexpectedly seeing a statue morphing into a conscious being. So that was a good remembrance of that, Jules.
Yeah. When we were on our way to the Sekhmet temple, we actually went ahead of the rest of our group through total synchronicity. Prageet, who had been feeling like somewhat unwell that day and went back to the bus, he called me on the phone like moments after we were like kind of diverted by Alan Steinfeld, who was like, come on, let's go to the Sekhmet temple now. And Prageet calls me up and he's like, I just got a really strong message from Spirit that we need to anchor an etheric Stargate. So to me, that was a confirmation also that we were meant to anchor the etheric Stargate there at the Sekhmet temple, which we did.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember that day, Prageet, physically your body needed a reset and you returned to the bus, which was very wise because you were there nonetheless. And then Jules and I, when we stepped into the sanctuary, all of this happened. And I felt an immense joy. I felt a correlation between what was happening with the etheric Stargate coming in, the liberation of an aspect of the old cosmic archives to Lyra, and also directly affecting positively the archives of the earth. So a lot happened right there at the Sekhmet sanctuary. And what we came to do there was already accomplished at the time. So I felt this joy in my heart. I felt, you know, this sense of fulfillment. And my group came and they said, your purpose is done. And so when they come and really going to connect and tell me that, it's because I knew that we have succeeded. And against all odds, our restriction, don't touch, don't take pictures, or don't put your hand in prayer. You have to watch yourself in different ways. But the group says, nonetheless, you will accomplish what you come to do. And so I knew that we were going to do what we've come to do at each and every site. And that was one of them.
I just want to say to those people that are watching this, sometimes when you listen to Viviane and she's describing what was happening, it's very difficult for the human mind to, really, was that really what was going on? And that's why this trip was so amazing. We were continuously given different demonstrations from people that didn't know what was going on, confirming what had just happened. So bear that in mind as you listen to some of these amazing experiences.
Well, and also to me, this is one of the really special things about going to Egypt with Viviane, who is totally multidimensional, totally Arcturian, has access to memories that many of us, we also have access to, but we've forgotten. They're in our archives, but we don't remember yet. So with Viviane, she's like, oh yeah, Sekhmet is a Lyran being. It makes perfect sense. And we also went to the Kom-Ombo crocodile temple. And Viviane's like, I don't need to go there. That's the reptilian temple. So it's like, it's very interesting, the history that is actually depicted in Egypt and how mainstream Egyptology gives us like such a dulled down interpretation of what is actually an astounding archive of knowledge that's there in the hieroglyphs. As Debra mentioned, we saw spaceships depicted, we saw a helicopter depicted. They have their own word for Stargate, which is Saba, and our tour guides were saboteurs.
Yeah. And we didn't know that beforehand.
And our guide, Muhammad, he said that every time the hieroglyphs talk about other dimensions, they translate it as afterlife, which to me blew my mind. It means that essentially the hieroglyphs are talking about many different nuanced understandings of other spiritual planes of reality. And it's all just being translated as this one word. So to me, I'm like, okay, I'm so curious what else Muhammad has to share with us. And I know, Debra, you were thinking of having him on at some point.
Yep.
Okay.
Wonderful, amazing. All right, so we're going to go on our next journey. And after we were at the Temple of Karnak, we went to Dendara, the Temple of Hathor. So Hathor was everywhere at this temple. And this is a temple that I felt really called to. When I was there 2 times before, this temple really lit up in my field. Hathor, again, is, and Vivian can share more about this, they are a space people, a space family that came and were really present during Egypt. And I feel like I was very connected with them. The top of Hathor Temple is amazing. If you can see these huge columns, you can see that woman there, you know, just about 1/10 of the size of the columns. Just totally beautiful. And they're magnificent. This is one of the temples that has the most art preserved in it. All kinds of art writing on the columns, on the walls, everywhere you go. It's just beautiful. So there we are looking at all the spiritual teachings on the walls. Lots of symbology, lots of meaning. Luckily, Muhammad is very, again, skilled at interpreting, and we got to see a lot of that. And well preserved on the columns, the walls, and the ceilings. This is actually the ceiling. It actually had the color still left there. So incredibly beautiful. Many stories told through that. And then we went back into the inner sanctum of the Hathor Temple. We went underneath into the chambers below. And on the chambers, you can see on the walls were so much beautiful art symbolism that had so much meaning. This, I don't know exactly what this means, but you can see that there's energy there. The Hathors are being accessed. So incredible symbolism there. This is Horus and the snake. There's a lot of symbology about the boats, what they use to depict the afterlife or going into the other dimensions, as Julian mentioned. And so for me, I felt a real calling for Hathor, like I said. So I decided to split from the group and go in one of the healing rooms and just tune in myself and see, why do I feel so called for the Hathor temple? Why does it excite me? So I sat down, I went into meditation, and what happened for me was like a past life regression in a way. I've had these several times, and it felt like that, where a screen went before me, and I saw myself going into the temple like at 9 or 10 as a little girl, and devoting my life to be a priestess of this temple, a priestess of Isis, priestess of Hathor. And I saw myself learning the sacred arts, the mystical arts, and becoming a conduit for the energies that allow the Hathors come through. And what I saw is that certain priestesses held a frequency where they were actually able to come through, and kind of like you see in Star Trek, where you see their light body come through. We actually had communications with them as they came through. And now we're doing that with Viviane and Alcazar, but that's what we did in the temples, is the Hathors and many deities would come through and give us teachings and energies and healings. And that's what I got. And I was so grateful. And again, for me, hard to know if you have these visions, what's really true. But I did ask my spiritual ascension guide if this was something that really happened to me in my past life, or however you qualify the experience that you had back in Egypt. And she said, yes, this was true. Julianne also went in a very sacred room above, where she had to climb up a ladder, and had a very strong experience with Hathor. And this is a picture of the room that she was in, where she had a strong knowing and experience. And Prageet also had a very personal, amazing experience at the Hathor temple that he's going to share with us. And also, as we shared the hieroglyphics, and would show some of the stargates. So I would love to bring back Prageet, Julianne, and Viviane to comment about the Hathor temple.
Yeah, thank you, Debra. So that statue of Hathor that you showed, you had to climb a ladder, go through a cubby hole, and then it's like a hallway in both directions. And to the left is this giant Hathor statue. And it was so interesting at the time, because my friend Alina had just been saying that she got this like kind of deja vu feeling from the future of herself looking back and being like, oh, they still had to build an energy field back then to feel the presence of the guides and to feel energies. And I was like, yeah, but what's the alternative? Like, as if it was like this like prehistoric necessity. And she's like, you just feel the presence. And so when I went into that chamber and I saw that statue, it really was like, you just say hello, because the presence is so strong of Hathor. And it's just almost impossible to describe. But if you take a moment to look at the statue, even just the image of it, you might be able to still feel it.
I think perhaps that's more of a response to the other dimensions, to the person that's there, rather than it being held in the statue. I don't know. But Viviane, wasn't this the place where we found ourselves being directed into another little smaller temple? It's the photo that you showed a little bit earlier, perhaps in the first picture that you showed, Debra. And I was with the main tour, And I just got a strong feeling that I should go back to the other place, because even though the Hathor temple was amazing, I had such a strong desire to go back. And so I got a couple of people. I said, hey, come with me. And so we went back, which is a bit of a walk. We went back to go to that place because I felt like no, actually what happened, sorry. I went there first and I stood in front of these 7 doors. And I said, I just get a feeling I need to bring some energy through. And I got a very clear message, you need more people. So I went back and gathered a few people, friends of mine, and said, come, we have to do some energy work. And I went back towards that smaller temple. And who was walking the other way but Viviane? And we met up and we went in and we did this incredible energy. Do you want to say what you perceived there, Viviane?
Absolutely, Prageet. And just like you, I was also called to step outside of the temple, the main temple. And I thought that I was disconnected from the group. And then I saw you coming in. When we entered this other chamber, which was quite a walk away from the main temple, when we enter with the small group, and then with you and me standing there, the first thing I felt is, the message was, you have returned to anchor the divine masculine and the divine feminine archetypes. And it was gone through you, Prageet, through myself, and of course the anchor point of the small group that you gathered. And all of us were just standing there, and I did feel a really clear buzzing, almost like buzzing electrical feeling coming directly through my crown chakra, through the spinal column, activating to the sacrum and down to the feet. And I knew that it was a place of initiation, like we were coming back in that phase of initiation, like a rite of passage. So there was that quality for me there. And I remember we were in circle and I was standing next to you, Prageet. And then the message was, look up. I look on the ceiling, all the inscription. And then that's what I heard about the archetypes being returned and the initiation behind it. So that's an aspect of what I remember, but I know there's a lot more that has happened. How was your experience for you, Prageet?
Was that the place where one of the temple people came in? Yeah.
Yes.
So we were standing in this circle, and one of the guardians of the temple, the guy who works there, came and he touched each one of us on our third eye with some kind of oil. And he was watching us. And he could tell that we were really into the energetic experience, and that this was something that was not just woo-woo spiritual stuff. And the other thing was that, was there another couple? Was that the same place? I get some of these places where there was where a woman joined us. Yeah. There was a couple that were walking past, and the woman was really touched by the experience, and she came and joined us. And then afterwards, she was just so grateful for having shared that experience with us. It was really touching. And there was other parts to that. Do you remember the other parts, Viviane?
Well, thank you for saying that, Prageet, because when this woman came speaking in her original language, she was very moved by what we were doing. And I look at the comment, what Anistara saying is true. It was also a birthing place, a place of where you come and give birth. So when we talk about the give birth of the new archetypes for the divine masculine and feminine together, this woman who came to us speaking her native tongue was looking at our group, and she was very, very moved. I remember her touching your hand, kissing your hand, and she took my hands, and look at her eyes. She has the most gorgeous blue eyes. I'll always remember the look in her face. I can tell that she was a very ancient soul has returned in a place of the birthing place. And she was reconnecting with us because she understood at a deeper level what we were doing there.
Mm.
And she wanted to take a picture with all of us. And it was
Yeah.
a very sacred moment where there was no more cultural barrier, linguistic barrier, religion barrier. None of that existed in that place with this beautiful woman who approached us in the first place. And I remember when we left the temple, the guide says, no, no, come, there's more.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah. The guide who'd given us these oils called us, come, and he took us through a different kind of little pathways through different parts of the building. And then he took us into a very small room. And it was very small. And at the end, there was a little step up, and above it, there was like a crescent design. And Jules has a picture of this. And he said, stand there, put your arms up and touch those. You can see where she's touching.
Yeah.
And the energy that came in then was so, so beautiful.
And at the same time, they were having a call for the national prayer. And one of the things I felt through the configuration of the arch was the combination of all of the belief system in the world coming back in oneness. And I remember hearing in the background the calling for their national prayer. It was the time. And for us to be invited to step into this sacred place at the same time, my group says, pay attention, because this is something of significance. There's a reunification going on right now. And that's what we were holding, the reunification field, to bring back together all the belief system, the religion, the key of wisdom. And that time we became one voice. And then there was more, because there's 2 more places that this guy brought us to.
Yeah.
On the ground.
Yeah. It's like he was getting quite excited now. He wanted to show us more. And he took us outside and around the side of the really large temple. And he took us to some steps that were going down. And it actually went down it was very dark. And at the bottom was this pool of water and sacred water. And we all kind of touched it, and it was difficult to get down there, but it was quite rough. The steps were quite rough. What was your experience down there?
Well, thanks to you holding my hand very tightly, I was able to go down there for one thing, Prageet.
Oh, I thought you were holding my hand.
Well, yes, we're holding each other's hand. How about that? Absolutely, but you helped me so much. I felt that we were going back into the underground energy of the original source of water. And I know it was very sacred water. I felt that it was very much on tap. And I felt that when we all came into contact with the waters, something, an innocence of purity, something really pure was being reactivating. And I can tell that this underground source of water is really well protected. And unless the guide specifically insisted to bring us there, you're not typically going there as a place for a visit, or where there's a large group coming in. But to feel the water, I felt the memory that the water contains, because we know that water contains memory, imprint, information, and we were sharing, partaking into the encoding of the memory of that water, and we were bringing that into our field, into ourselves. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I can feel it.
And then afterwards, we kind of stumbled back out the steps, and we gave the guide a few bucks, and we said thank you, and we were about to go back, and the guide had run off and disappeared. And then just as we were about to really leave, he came back and he said, "Here, look," and he was waving some keys. He said, "Come, come, come." And he took us the back of the main Hathor temple. And there was another very small temple there, which he unlocked and let us in and to do again another little ceremony we did there.
You mean that small temple that was locked for one thing? So that's why he had a key. The guide unlocked it specifically for us. Personally, when we entered that small temple right behind the main temple of Hathor, I felt that there was a very powerful condensed point. And I felt there was such an interdimensional portal that was almost feeding through the back of the temple what was really happening. And I felt distinctively the presence of this interdimensional group known as the Hathor. And I felt their presence, and they said, this is one of our main portal that is still open to the planet on this day, or to this day. And we step into it. And of course, being an intergalactic being, they know exactly who I am. They're not being fooled by these human appearances. They said, you know that you recognize this portal. And this chamber for me was particularly very powerful. And I remember how I felt like an opening right into my higher chakra system, like into my thymus area, and opening to the gateway of my higher heart, and recognizing the presence of the Hathor as an intergalactic group, not as the depiction of the statue. So I was extremely grateful that you came across me and was able to follow all around, because that temple behind it was just very potent into energy and presence.
Amazing. It's like you guys unlocked other levels of the video game of the Dendara temple. And to anyone who's watching who's going to go to Egypt at some point, carry little money with you, because the guards will like come and like show you cool things, and it's nice to tip them because they'll show you more cool things.
Yeah. Okay, let's carry on our journey.
Okay, wonderful. All right, we have one more amazing journey, and we did so many things, so we're not going to be able to share everything in this program, but we are planning to do an episode 2 and 3 and continue the journey, and I'll share more about that. But we are going to share with you our last incredible experience and activation at the Giza Pyramid. So the very last night, we went back to the Giza Pyramid for the second activation. It was a full moon. It was last September 2023 full moon. The full moon beautifully lit the pyramid. And there I am with the full moon above my head and the lit pyramid. It was spectacular. It lit the whole side. Everything was just beautiful. And again, we went into the King's Chamber. We were not allowed to take our cameras. Vivian stayed on the outside and did the activation on the outside. And again, we went into the King's Chamber. This is what the King's Chamber looks like as before we went in, but we were not able to take pictures there. And what happened is the commander came through. This is another being that is an aspect of Prageet, came through and worked together with other starships and what we actually did as a group, installed a gold capstone on the Giza Pyramid, an etheric gold capstone. Much more happened, but that was one of the peaks of what we did there. And then afterwards, we came out. This is Viviane and her wonderful husband, Peter, as we took a picture there. And again, in light of the spiritual confirmations that happened all during the trip, another picture was taken of Viviane and Peter. And this is what you probably have seen, created a picture of the green orb. Now, this was not visible as you looked at it, but the photograph captured it, just like it would with orbs and other things like that. So this was an amazing photo, an amazing demonstration of what happened. When we were in the Giza Pyramid, the commander told us that there was many ships around the Giza Pyramid assisting us. And so amazing photography. So I'd like to bring Prageet, Julianne, and Vivian back to share about this amazing activation.
Well, yeah, I mean, this was an amazing completion to the trip that we were on together. And I was told, I was kind of warned in a way that when you go into the king's chamber, they always have somebody there watching. And the person that was watching us on this particular time was very against meditation and channeling and that kind of thing, which usually happens inside the pyramid. But for some reason, I was told, be careful with this one. And so instead of talking or channeling, Alcazar used my voice and talked about the military man that we were talking to earlier on, which was the commander.
The Galactic
Galactic Command, yeah. And so if you listen to the recording, it sounds very strange. But what was happening was Vivian and all her entourage that were working at the base again, and Alcazar was saying there's many of the ships that are here waiting to assist, and he said it's possible to start the process of energizing, reactivating this pyramid, and it's possible to bring down a capstone, an etheric capstone. And he said that we had to all bring our intention together and to visualize it way up above, and then to intend to bring it down. And he said the closer it gets, the stronger your intention needs to be. And so it was a very interesting experience. I never had anything like that before. And then at some point it was like, it is done. And I don't remember much more about, we were in there for 4 hours, but that's the only thing that I can really remember.
Yeah, when that happened in the first group, that we're the first 50 people who were in there. So being in the king's chamber, it's a bit like being in a sweat lodge.
Oh, absolutely. We're totally drenched afterwards.
It's amazing.
There's very little oxygen. They don't bring air in. And the whole time that we were there, in all the different places, there was always a great resistance to us actually doing anything spiritual. They don't like it. They don't want it. We got interrupted several times in different places where they said, no, don't do this, don't do this. And there was one place when Viviane was just kind of moving her hands like that, and immediately they said, stop, stop. So it was also a very strange experience that all these very powerful, energetic places, you're not allowed to connect to the energy.
Right. We actually, people in our group got caught meditating,
Yes.
which to me is like one of the funniest things I've heard.
Yeah.
Vivian, what's your take on that second trip to the King's Chamber?
Great observation all the way around. And I love not only our friendship, but the synergy that we bring, the three of us and beyond, because it flows so beautifully. Well, when we went back the second time, we have to say that in parallel, there was some tension rising in the three-dimensional matrix reality at the same time. So those tensions, just to put it this way, was influencing the tail end of the last activation. The team says there's no concern for the activation will take place. So I remain the ground crew, and this time I stayed on the ground as opposed to go at the entrance. So there was a group of beautiful 7-8 women with me, and Peter, my husband, was the anchor behind, and we stayed on the ground, and they had the guards has a large spotlight on us, and they had a guard assigned to us to watch what we were doing. So of course, don't do this, And don't do sign language because, oh la la, they're gonna let you know. So what we did is that we sat in front of the Giza Pyramid, looking up like this, right at the base where the ground crew. And I told these 7, 8 amazing women with me, says, in our heart, let's unify, let's call upon our intergalactic enlightened communities. And let's bring the last level of activation to the pyramid to support those who are inside. So we were there to really supporting you, Prageet and Jules, and the beautiful people that were with us, including Debra and absolutely her light. And we were there to supporting you. So what I asked through a thought form projection, what we call a form of holographic telepathic exchange, I asked the communities and the delegations who have been with us, please come into your ship, open a secret portal, allow this beautiful Giza Pyramid and the entire plateau to be restored to its original form. Let the original blueprint revive and be restored like a rebirth. And I ask, please, can you show us a sign? We have been here diligently working, pushing physically, emotionally, etherically, and all the above. Show us a sign. And so as we were there and we walking around and I put my hands in my pocket, the guards is there. But what I do is I send love to this guard because it's connection to connection, heart to heart. And once the group came out the first time, I knew that it was particularly challenging for you inside. I can feel it. And so when you came out and this picture was taken, which Debra just showed us a moment ago, that is the direct response to the request we have made. This has been the direct response to all the sum of all the work, what we have implanted, activated, held, anchored, and beyond. So if you look at this, what looks like a giant emerald green orb with some golden shade to it, you can distinctively see many intergalactic, many cosmic beings. It's a collective of group consciousness projected in their light form. And for us to see this giant lookalike orb on the picture, it gives you a taste of how huge this opening really is. So for the picture to capture this way, that's because they agreed for us to have a visual to give us the sense, yes, the work is done. Now you can leave at peace. We are with you. We have been with you. We're always working with you side by side. And that visual, to me personally, was a cherry on top of a very rich sundae already. And I really felt that in my heart.
Yeah.
Yes.
Amazing. Well, we are going to experience an activation together. And but first I want to thank, is there anything else that Stargate or Viviane wants to share before we give some announcements and go into the activation about what happened?
Oh, well, I think for us, we've talked a lot and we've shared a lot. And as you said, there might next be another chapter where we're going to some of the other amazing things that happened. But for now, I think that was very beautiful. And thank you for creating this for us all.
Right. So I want to just give some gratitude. This is Muhammad of Saboteurs. He was an amazing tour guide, very evolutionary in his thinking, and just matched us so well and documented what we were experiencing. I want to thank Portal to Ascension, Neil Garr, Joan Hengarter, and Alan Steinfeld. They were the original inspirations of the trip and some of the tour guides. Portal to Ascension is an online platform that has all kinds of amazing information. Alan Steinfeld has New Reality TV, and Joan has Joan of Angels. So it was great to get their support. And of course, I want to appreciate the 100 people that came on the trip, because they were the conduits. They were there to support the activation that happened. Again, mostly women, but a few amazing men as well. And I want to share with you a gift right now. My passion is the Ascension, which is what we're talking about. And this is a level of demonstration of the planetary ascension, with the globe evolving forward to another higher state of being. And as above, so below, as the Earth is doing that, we are doing that. We are going through our ascension process. So this is what I created because I study with all the Ascension teachers, incredible ones like I've shared with you today. And this is a booklet you can download. It has 88 tips that explain this evolutionary accelerated spiritual process we're going through now. It shares the awakening. It shares about complete transmutation, the alchemical transmutation we're going through. It shares about embodying the soul being as you're doing now, a soul embodiment. And it also shares about the divine human and the new earth, which is really what we're creating now. We're here to birth a new earth. And it shares what the new earth is going to be like, why we actually came to the planet at this point. You can scan that here, but you can go to ascensionnow.org, ascensionnow.org, and you can download it for free. So that's my gift to you. And also, I did a program with another one of my favorite Ascension teachers, Meg Benedicte, about the Ascension tips. So it's a 3-part program. The first series, it's 3 episodes. The first one is free, called Ascension Revealed. And we go very deep into the Ascension tip points so you can understand all about them. And you can find this on ascensionnow.org, or you can go exactly to ascensionrevealed.com and find it. So that's a 3-part program. Also, I have a large outlet where I have an email marketing, and I share the most incredible transformational events through 3 different newsletters. Debra Recommends, Harmony Connects, Transformation into the New Paradigm. And if you did not sign up for this program specifically, and you want to be in touch with us to know when the next programs are coming, you can go to wishingwellportal.com, wishingwellportal.com, and you can subscribe there, and we'll keep you in touch with what we're doing with episode 2 and 3 and other incredible high-level transformational events, conferences, retreats, and all that happening now. That's my passion, and that's what I love to share with people. And we have a YouTube channel now, ascentionnowchannel.com. We're going to be growing that. If we're going to be sending you the replay if you signed up for this program, so you could listen to it again, especially people that came in late. You want to listen to the whole thing. It's amazing. But it's also on our channel, Ascension Now channel. So you can go to that. When you go there, please subscribe, like, and share. And we're going to be growing that and just offering a lot of cutting edge information. And if you'd like to donate to support the production of the next program, especially if you got this for free, if you were on one of our broadcast channels, you can go to ascensionactivations.com. Your green love really helps us create more of these programs and do more and build our platform so we can bring high-level Ascension teachers to you. So you can go to ascensionactivations.com, ascensionactivations.com, and make a donation. And also, we have available the live stream of the tour. Jules, do you want to come on and share about it?
Thank you, Debra. So the live stream of the tour includes all of the recordings from the activations we did in all of the sacred sites. It also has video footage of Muhammad Ibrahim's tours and explanations of some of the sacred sites, as well as a bunch of Stargate meditations that we did at various workshop spaces and on our Nile cruise. So there's a lot of magic packed into that. If you're interested in tuning in and tapping in whenever we work with the Stargate, we're creating a quantum field. And so the energetics of these sites are actually accessible through the high vibrational energy field. And we'll actually experience a taste of that in the activation we're about to do.
And that's stargate.live/Egypt tour. We've posted in the chat room, and we'll send you an email after this if you're on our email list and you signed up for the registration with all these links and how to access it. Stargate.live/Egypt tour. And Stargate is amazing. They offer so many things. So Jules, can you continue to share what you offer?
Yeah, so that link there, stargate.live/welcome, will take you to the homepage of our website, thestargateexperience.com. And essentially, we do so many live energy meditations. We're actually doing a free series until the end of December right now called Surfing the Waves of the New Timeline. And we also have a lot of online courses, events around the world. We just had 1,000 people in person in the island of Kos in Greece.
Yeah, Viviane was there with us as well. And it
It
was translated into 8 different languages.
we came together at a critical moment for humanity, which was right after Egypt, actually, to essentially send a huge wave of higher consciousness to shift the timeline, the trajectory of humanity. So our new series that we're doing is called Surfing the Waves of the New Timeline, where we really felt called to support our community in what has felt like a strangely challenging time for a lot of people. So you can go to stargate.live/surfing and sign up for access to all of the replays. We've been doing them since November or late October.
1 or 2 a week.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And now we'll share Vivian's offerings, because she also offers a lot to her community. Vivian, you want to share what you offer?
Yes, of course. Thank you, Debra. So over the last 2 years, I've created an online community that is really much what we call an Arcturian online community by an Arcturian. And many of the members tonight are here. And I'm really want to recognize our member. Ellie is there, Scotty is there, Debra is here, and many others. So we invite you to really go to the website, which I just put in the chat room, Infinite Healing from the Stars. Looking at the membership, we have very exclusive membership. And what we do is that we bring teaching, we bring activations. We have the Arcturian holographic group healing that is a monthly event. We also have 2 meditation series per month. Right now we have one's called The Rays of Creation. And in addition, every month I create a brand new meditation based on the frequency changes on the planet, based on where we are in the field. And that series is also available on my YouTube channel. But join us to the meditation in our community. This is the best way to work with us. We have also our global initiative Zoom meeting that's private exclusively for the members. We have a new project called the Universal Harmonic, where we bring different frequency bands to help the Earth stabilize, shift, bring more solar frequencies. We are planning our next retreat for the members. We're going to Switzerland at the end of May of 2024. And very much the community has been growing, and it's just exploring what else possible. And that is in addition to what we do with the Arcturian Arts program. It's a 3-month program. It's starting in January. We have also an upcoming in-person retreat in Sedona, Arizona, coming up. And everything will be on the website. So definitely join us. And if you're part of the Stargate family and you're part of our community, we're surfing the timeline together very, very well. And it's a joy to be of service to you.
Wonderful. And I want to share that there are a lot of tours going to Egypt, and this is a very special one that's coming up because it's actually going to be taking place during 11/11/2024 by 11/11 Ascension University. So you can contact them through their website, 1111unified.com. And they're going to be doing a very special tour to all the sacred sites. And I think you'll be in the pyramid during 1111. Very important and special to go during those incredible portals. And I want to bring Prageet and Julianne and Vivian back. And again, share that it is an intention to do another episode, because this, we did a 10-day tour and there was so much amazingness that happened. When we do it again, we're going to be talking about the divine feminine transmissions that happen in the Queen's Chamber. And when we went to the Temple of Isis, we also went to the Luxor Temple, the Temple of Abydos, Osiris Temple. We went to Saqqara. We went to the tombs underneath. We got pictures of all the orbs going there, the Egyptian Museum. And also I'd love for them to share the culmination of when they went to Greece, where 1,000 people took all the energy that we had and really continue to evolve it forward with Greece. So we're going to be sharing all that with you. So stay tuned. If you've signed up, we'll keep you in touch, or sign up with us and we'll keep you in touch when that's going to happen, probably sometime in January. So we are going to end now with an activation. So I'd love to turn it over to Prageet, Julianne and Alcazar, and Vivian and her star family to guide us in an activation where we can all unify together.
So thank you so much, Debra, for putting all of this together. I know so much love went into this production. Really deep gratitude. It's such a joy to share these activations with everyone.
Yeah, so we'll start it off, shall we? And pass it over to Vivian.
So we invite all of you to close your eyes, go inside. If you're driving or doing dishes, come back later and listen to this, because it will be an energy transmission.
So we're going to be working with what we call the etheric Stargate, which is the consciousness of the Stargate. Whenever we work with the Stargate, we always connect to the energy of Gaia, Terra, the Earth. So let's start by each one of us just asking inside for the energies of the Earth to come up into your body, into your energy field, grounding you, connecting you into your body, into this moment now.
And so actually asking silently within, if you wish to have a strong experience, we are calling for the energy of the Earth to come up into our bodies, into our energy fields.
And now, throughout this meditation, there's a few things we're going to be inviting you to ask for. This is because in this way, the guides respond to you personally. If you choose not to ask, that's fine, but the energies won't be coming to you. So now we ask each one of you to ask inside for an etheric Stargate, the consciousness of the Stargate, to come down around you. And you can imagine a Stargate, or if you don't know what that's like, just imagine a pyramid coming down around you.
And so we're calling for the presence of an etheric Stargate.
And just visualize it, feel it, sense it. It's responding to your asking. And what we're going to do is let Alcazar come in and guide the rest of the meditation. And so, beloved ones, feeling yourself surrounded by a pyramid or a Stargate, and just relaxing, nothing to do. We are going to start to vibrate your etheric Stargate faster and faster. And as we do so, we move up through the frequency ranges of the different dimensions. So we begin this process now. Rapidly vibrating your etheric Stargate or your pyramid, moving out of the third dimensional reality into the fourth, moving very rapidly and through the vibrational ranges of the dimensions into the fifth, vibrating faster into the sixth dimensional realities, and now merging into the frequencies of the seventh dimension, where we just pause for a few moments.
And so we invite each one of you to ask inside now for a strong 7th dimensional energy field in your etheric stargate.
So we call for a strong 7th dimensional energy in all of the etheric stargates and all the physical stargates around the world. And as your stargate gently radiates this soft frequency to you, your own energy field will very slowly, very gently elevate until it is in harmony with the energies around you. It is not something you do. It's just relaxing and allowing. It happens quite naturally. Just relaxing into the gentle field that's being created around you if you are participating in this meditation. Very good.
And so now we continue once again to vibrate all the stargates, physical and etheric, faster and faster. And so we are accelerating now through your 8th dimensional frequencies and continuing into the 9th, vibrating faster and faster, emerging through your 10th dimensional frequency bands and vibrating quite rapidly now as we move through your 11th dimension into the 12th, where again, all the stargates come to a gentle pause.
And so now we ask each one of you to ask inside for a strong 12th dimensional frequency range in your etheric stargate or in your pyramid.
And so we are calling for a strong 12th dimensional energy field.
And again, nothing to do, just relaxing into the softness, into the support of these gentle vibrations. And as before, slowly, slowly, your own vibration will gently rise until you are in harmony with those 12th dimensional energetics around you. Just by relaxing, just by letting go. And when you vibrate at this level, it is a little easier for you to perceive, to sense the presence of the various guides who will be inviting into this meditation. Because this is just a very brief experience, we will start by inviting the presence of the angelic realm.
And so each one of you asking inside, we are calling for the presence of the angels.
So just ask with feeling as well as just repeating the words, and just feel. Here they come, the angels, gently bringing their presence into this meditation. You can invite them to come closer. Come closer. Just feeling the support, the love, the presence of the angels. Very good. Very good. And there is one master who wishes to be with us right now. He is the one that has experienced this power and the presence of the Great Pyramids. He was initiated there, his final initiation. He is the one known as Yeshua or Jesus or Sananda. And so each one of us just asking inside, calling for the presence of Yeshua into this meditation.
And so we call for the presence of Yeshua, Sananda.
And just feel his energies are already coming to us. You can invite him closer also. Yes. Very good. And now let us pass this meditation over to the Arcturians through this one, Viviane.
And so we are with you from the Arcturian delegations. We are honored to be with you, as well as the beloved Sananda and the etheric consciousness of the Stargate. And as you continue integrating the multitude of frequencies and the overlays of the new structural light body that is returning to you and on the planet, we're going to also invite the consciousness of the great guardian of the Sphinx in the true aspect of the Giza Pyramid. So see and feel and welcome the presence of the guardian of the Sphinx, the great sacred archives, reactivating throughout the entire planet grid system a multitude of archives and etheric knowledge encoded also in your own etheric field and the quantum field of your DNA. So we invite you to gently allow these frequencies to becoming a part of you. All you need to do is just keep breathing peacefully and enjoy this transmission in the presence of the guardian and the great Giza Pyramid in its original form as an oscillator of pure energy is simply helping all of us globally and on the planet throughout your entire solar system to integrate layer by layer of the new frequencies, helping to reharmonize to the sacred pulse of the rhythmic pattern of the universe. And as the Giza Pyramid oscillate those waves that echo deep into other planetary systems, the Stargate consciousness facilitate the structural aspect of those transmission now. Just allow everything to unfold. And remember that we perceive you in the truth of your nature, who you are as the divine beings, which transcend well beyond your 3D mental field and your 3D identities. We understand that you have received a lot of frequencies and activations already. We simply ask the guardian of the Sphinx and the oscillation of the great Giza Pyramid in the presence of our delegation to gently bring you back now in complete alignment, back into your own space from wherever you are on the planet, and to gently feel to the universal chakra system that you are reintegrating into your physical form, your body template, all of your presence, your energies in full consciousness, to really feel the process as you keep breathing more consciously, that you are integrating your physical form. And now let's take a deep breath in and release. Take a moment to feel your connections to Mother Gaia, Sacred Mother Terra. Think of it as your inner tree of life is now grounded. Roots are expanding, strong, filled with vitality and energies. And to feel that you're settling in universal peace, in a greater sense of inner harmony. The process is complete in 3, 2, and 1. Let's take another deep breath and release. Beautiful. You are now welcome to gently open your eyes and fully return in the now. Welcome back. Yes, welcome back, everyone.
Thank you so much, Prageet and Julianne and Viviane. It's been amazing, and I knew it would be.
Mm.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us and being a part of this. And thank you, all the guides, Alcazar, the star families, for making this happen.
Mm.
Thank you, Debra, so much.
Mm.
Thank you, Prageet and Jules,
We love you all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and beyond.
Mm. Okay. Beautiful time together.
Thank you so much. What a very special edition of the Awakening World. And all four of you are precious. You've all been on our show many times. And Julianne and Prageet are going to be right back on with us again on Saturday night.
Yes, we look forward to it.
So that's going to be really, really fun. And Viviane, thank you so much for, as a being, the choice you've made to come into a human body and to bless us with your wisdom and your presence. Thank you so much.
Mm.
And Debra, my colleague and friend for 35, 40 years, something like that now. We were 16 when we met.
Wow.
It seems like. Anyway, thank you all very, very much.
Mm.
And I know we have a lot of new friends that are with us. And for those of you that are not part of the Global Peace Tribe yet, please do join us. We do twice a week amazing shows. And our shows are always filled with a lot of very dynamic speakers like you saw tonight. And it truly is about the awakening world. And so every Wednesday night and Saturday night, we gather at 6 o'clock Pacific. And we come together as community to really receive the information of what's going on in the world, to receive inspiration. And every show is dynamic. Like last Saturday night's show, our most recent one, we met global peace tribers from all around the world that are young people that are in their 20s. This Saturday night, we're going to be collaborating once again with Soul Search TV. Soul Search TV is run by Tangela, and we're going to have all of their leading presenters on the show, including Julianne and Prageet, who you just met, and also Kalina, Eden Amadora, and several other amazing presenters. And every show is like this. And then we get together and we collaborate. We have retreats. We are truly the Global Peace Tribe finding each other. I know a lot of course, that are people. We've got Frode in Europe right now. We've got Jarina, who's down in Ecuador. We're people all over the world. And we come together and we develop friendships and beautiful connections. So it's very easy. Just go to globalpeacetribe.com and register. Again, it's globalpeacetribe.com. That's where you can find all the information about us. And you can learn all about who we are and what we do. One of the things, by the way, that's really fun is that most of our shows, we have a lot of music. And in a moment, we're going to close tonight's show with Omashar, who's our house musical artist, doing a musical number. But here's our Global Peace Tribe page where you can learn all about what we do. And then just click register for the new season. And when you register for the new season, you're going to get all of the Zoom room links, like tonight's show, to all of our shows for the next 4 months. And we have a lot of amazing presenters. We're going to be doing a solo show with Marianne Williamson. Last week, a week ago, we did a very powerful event with a number of people that are all about creating ET diplomacy and actually are building a center to greet our galactic family. So these are the kinds of shows and experiences we have twice a week. We want to invite all of you to join us. And I also want to invite all of you to get up and get ready to move to the music, because we always have music on our shows, usually a little bit more than we did tonight. And Omashari is going to close us out with a song, and we'll highlight and spotlight some of you that are moving and grooving to the music, which will certainly include a lot of our regular Global Peace Tribe members. So, Debra, are there any last thoughts you'd like to share before we go over to Omashar?
Just sharing so much love. That's Scott and I began the show right at the beginning of the pandemic because we wanted to gather community together and really connect and share love and go through this awakening together. So I'm just appreciative for Scott, for continuing the show. We did 90 of Saturday Night Alive for the Global Peace Tribe, and then Scott continued with the Awakening World. So it's just really beautiful to have you all here and do what we do and remind each other of the love that is here and what we're here for. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Debra. As always, you did an amazing job. What a fun show. And I know a lot of people are going to want to, share the replay with their friends. And it was just beautiful to really vicariously experience this transformational trip for those of you there and really for our planet. So, and it's happening, we really are all playing our parts, playing our roles, and everyone who can hear our voice right now, you all have a role to play. We're all doing our job to create the next world, to create the new paradigm. It's very, very exciting. And one of the wonderful ways to create it is through creative expression. And one of our favorite musical artists and our house musical artist, he's with us on every show, is our wonderful friend Omashar. Hey, brother.
Hey, what an amazing show. Debra and Julianne and Prageet and Viviane. My goodness, I was transported there right now. I've had a time in Egypt, and so I felt so at home and so enlivened. And the final meditation, holy smoke, I'm still coming into my body from that. I'm got my hematite here to ground me. I'm getting down. So I'm just going to share a little music, and this is a song actually called The Awakening World. And let's just go for it, shall we?
All right.
All right. The awakening world is rising through our hearts, through our lives, as we take the next steps together, walking tall, no disguise. Here we are again, loving all we see. Lift each other up and let each other be, healing all the past, healing you and me, loving all that's gone, loving what's to be. The awakening world is rising through our hearts, through our lives, as we take the next steps together, walking tall, no disguise. Awakening world is rising through our hearts.
take steps together, walking tall, no disguise. Nothing left to say, nothing left to do. Let your spirit shine, let your spirit through. Time is what we have, time to think anew. Let inspiration flow, let inspiration flow. Each other up, let each other be, healing all the past, healing you and me, loving all that's gone, loving what's to be.
Let's all twinkle Omashar. I'm going to gallery view and I see so many people that I love. Oh my God, Rev Deb is here and so many amazing people that are part of our beautiful Global Peace Tribe family. And thank you as always, Omashar, amazing job. And you know, most of our shows, everybody, we have always Omashar and sometimes one or even two other musical artists. And so music is a big part of this show so that we can integrate all the amazing wisdom and downloads that take place. So Omashar, thank you so much. Everyone, I hope to see you on Saturday night as we're going to meet all of the leaders. Soul Search TV is launching and they're going to launch kind of via the Awakening World. So you're going to meet a lot of their amazing lead presenters, the people who are going to actually host the TV shows. So that's going to be Saturday night and look forward to seeing all of you then. God's blessing and have a wonderful few days. Take care, everybody. I'm going to go to gallery view one last time so we can all twinkle each other and say goodnight.